Yes. Good afternoon, Coach Frazier. George Radney, Challenger Community News. How you doing today?
Doing good, George. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Congratulations on yesterday's team win yesterday.
Yes, thank you, George.
And my question for you today is: will the team with the aggressiveness of the defense? The defense seemed to set their will on the offense, and with so many veteran players on your defense, do you think you might be able to after the quarterback a lot more the rest of the season?
Yeah, every game that we go into, that's the goal, to try to affect the opponent's quarterback, in particular yesterday because of the caliber of quarterback we were facing. I mean, he's an elite quarterback, MVP candidate, and myself and the coaches were putting together the game plan. This is the strategy we thought was necessary to give us the best chance to succeed. And our players handled it like champs. They did a terrific job, as you mentioned. Going forward, we'll need to be aggressive as much as we can. We've got some other really good quarterbacks coming up. So we're going to pick our spots and really try to affect the quarterback as much as we can.
Yeah, is that so possibly roll into the game plan for this week in Arizona with Kyler Murray? Someone that seems to be quite small, but he's really fast too. He looks quick on TV.
Yeah, I just had a chance to take a peek at him prior to coming down to speak to you and everyone else. And he does. He has tremendous quickness. So we'll take a look at it and we'll see what's the best strategy to try to contain him.
And last but not least, with the secondary, you guys seem to be really good at disguising the coverages. Is that something that just you guys have a good knack at doing that?
Well, John Butler and Bobby Babbage, both guys who work with our secondary, along with Jimmy Salgado, they do a great job of working with our players and explaining to them the importance of disguising coverages and giving quarterbacks different looks. So it's something that we work on all the time and trying to confuse them as much as we can. And fortunately, we've been able to get it accomplished.
Great. Thank you very much. And hey, have a great week.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, it's Kim Jones. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, Kim.
I wondered this during the game yesterday. You first had that game against the Jets, a really tight one. I mean, I don't need to tell you how the games went. You had the game against the Jets, and then obviously the big win against the Patriots. In different ways, did those two performances set the stage for yesterday when your group was at times so dominant and able to take away the ball 4 times?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, it helps when you have success, and our guys had success in those previous games that you mentioned, and it builds your confidence. And, you have to reset every week, and especially against an opponent like the one we faced yesterday, one of the premier offenses in our league. So it helped to have had some success in prior weeks as you're installing a game plan that, it's going to be an aggressive one. It's going to sometimes, leave some guys on an island, and they've got to believe in what you're trying to get accomplished. And I think the success we've had recently probably helped in some of the things we got accomplished yesterday.
And if I may quickly follow up, and I said this already on the air today, but I thought it looked like the Bills' defense. To you, did yesterday look like the defense you know and love?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many good things that happened in that game, the way we were hitting the quarterback, getting the takeaways. I didn't like the leaky yardage we gave up towards the end, but overall, really, really pleased with the performance of our guys and just, how aggressive they were and how they adapted to the game plan. But it looked more like what we've done in the past for sure.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie. I know you've heard the negative stuff about Tremaine, but from looking at the film, what did you see out of him that maybe you hadn't at some points this season?
John, I saw a lot of the same things we saw in practice as we were leading up to the game. He had a really good week of practice, really took charge, had a few words to say to the defense. And he carried that over to the game, was aggressive in his play, showed great leadership, tackled with some force, got his hands on some balls. So it just mirrored what he had done in practice during the week. And, we expect to see that the remainder of the season. He's probably as close to 100% that he's going to get right now. That shoulder's feeling much better. So I think, we're going to see the ascension as we go forward.
I was going to ask you, do you think the trajectory going upwards is related to purely just being healthier, or were there some things that, shoulder or no shoulder, he was fundamentally doing wrong that have also changed?
Yeah, I think there were some things due to the shoulder where he had developed some poor habits fundamentally that he's worked through. And Bob Babbage, our linebackers coach, really has done a good job in just honing in on the fundamentals of his play. And I think that showed up in the game on Sunday. Now that he's 100%, he's passed some of those technical flaws that were hurting his play. And I expect, we all expect that he'll just continue to get better and better as we go on.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie, how is this game against the Seahawks almost like a good first course or appetizer to facing the Arizona Cardinals this weekend?
Well, I mean, Arizona, Matt, they present their own problems. They've got a terrific young quarterback as well and an offense that's ranked number 1 in the league. So we're going to have our hands full with what they do on offense and really trying to get a grasp around what's the best approach that we need to take to slow them down. So it's hard to compare other than the fact that they are both very explosive offenses. And, we're going to have to bring our A game to have a chance to be successful.
And Tre'Davious White has gone up against DeAndre Hopkins a couple times. We'll do it again this coming weekend, whether he's going to follow him or it's going to be by committee. How do you see like a player in Tre'Davious White going up against a talented player like DeAndre Hopkins multiple times? I guess, how does that help having that history there with him and having the times that he's been able to face him to prepare for this matchup, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Matt. They faced each other a number of times over the last few years, and Tre'Davious has had his wins. DeAndre's had some success as well. So it's going to be a terrific battle. We'll determine whether or not we want to travel with DeAndre or not. We'll make that decision as the week goes on, as we learn more about their offense and how they're using him. But Trey will have tremendous confidence like he always does when he goes against top receivers, and looking forward to him having a really good game. We know DeAndre is going to make some catches. I mean, they're going to throw it to him enough and do enough things to give him some opportunities. So you can't get discouraged when he catches a few balls. You just don't want to give up the explosive plays.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hi, Leslie. Going off of that Cardinals offense, when you play a team that you don't see a lot, and particularly a team that runs some concepts with a coach that came from college, it's a different offense than a lot of teams in the NFL run. What are the challenges of preparing for a group like that during the week?
Well, you're right on, Matt, and the fact that it's so different than what you face on a normal basis. The tempo, how fast they're going, the style of offense, running the quarterback as much as they do. You don't see that week in and week out. So you have to prepare a little bit differently than you would for most NFL offenses. So that'll be the challenge for us in our preparation as we get ready for the game. And can we simulate the speed of their offense and also some of the things they do with the quarterback run game? And if we can get that handled in practice and helping us with our preparation, that'll help us on Sunday as well.
I know, we'll probably spend all week and people will spend all week talking about how unique this offense is and that challenge you talk about. But I guess I'll ask you, how much different is the offense? Do we make too much of that? I mean, you've seen a lot of football. It's not as if Cliff Kingsbury invented something new. Everything is a derivative of something. So how different is this offense?
Well, what makes it different is not so much overall, because almost every team in college football is running a similar offense. It's just that what you said earlier, you don't see it week in and week out in the NFL. But in college, it's very common. And I'm sure there are a lot of derivatives of what Kyler did at Oklahoma. You're seeing it with the Arizona Cardinals. So for him, it's an extension of what he did in college. You just don't see it every week in our league. A lot more drop back, a lot more, one back run, but not so much quarterback run. And that's what makes it unique. And that's probably the uniqueness of it, the quarterback run game.
Have you seen over the years, he's not the first college coach to make the transition to the NFL and bring some of these concepts, but over the years, how have you seen the success? It seems like guys like this have a little bit more success in today's game, the way the game is played, that maybe the college concepts translate a little more, but how have you seen that evolution as, in your years in the league?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You've seen other coaches come from college ball to the NFL and bring their concepts with them. And it's usually the offensive-minded coaches. The difference in today's transition is the quarterback runs. That's probably the biggest difference. When I think of, I don't want to get into naming some names, but I can think of some guys that we went against in years prior who came from college. The quarterback run game is what's different, and that's what makes this offense unique compared to some of the other offenses that we face. And today, when guys come from college, it's usually because of that, being able to spread you out and allowing the quarterback to dictate what happens from an offensive standpoint.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Leslie, John Worrell with the AP. How you doing?
Doing good, John. How are you?
Good. Kind of jumping off what Kim Jones was talking about, but going back to the KC game, in the sense that how big of a tipping point was that for your defense in the aftermath of what happened there? Because the numbers have really changed since that game.
That game was such a unique game, and even the game plan going in where, we were very concerned about giving up plays over the top of the defense and yielding a little bit in the run game. We've taken a different approach going forward, but it was a unique game plan in itself. And we learned some things from that game. And, we just tried to become more who we are in the weeks post that game.
Yeah, because I think you kind of answered my question, because, how much more prepared was this defense with that game and knowing the corrections that you made since the Kansas City game to prepare for, I don't want to say to a similar quarterback in Russell Wilson as Mahomes was? What lessons did maybe you learn to better prepare yourselves for the task at hand yesterday?
Yeah, as much as those guys both are great quarterbacks, their offenses are a little bit different, but they're both very explosive. So we did learn some things from the KC game that we wanted to make corrections on for sure. And we tried to institute those over the last few weeks. And some of that showed up yesterday as well, and hopefully going forward. But great quarterbacks both, little dissimilar in some ways.
I get that, but the similarities are interesting. I'm talking about the similarities on your defense were interesting because Matt Milano did not play against Kansas City as well, and he wasn't there. So it just seems that your defense is developed, and there's been a progression.
Yeah, that's a good observation, John. And part of it is learning to play without Matt. We've had him in and out of the lineup, and we were so reliant on him in so many ways that we did things in the past, and we've had to adapt and adjust. And I think A.J. Klein and our confidence in A.J. Klein has increased, and he's made plays for us and he's grown. But we have some other guys around the defense that have grown too over the last few weeks. And all of that is just a part of this type of season that we've been in, and just us maturing as a group. And we're still evolving in some ways, and we still have some growth. That's the good thing. You want to be growing as you get closer to December.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hi, Coach. Dante Lasting, Bills.com. You touched on A.J. Klein, and it seemed he was all around the football field yesterday. What impressed you the most with his performance yesterday?
Oh, without question, Dante, his blitzing ability, the way he was winning on the backs when he was faced with a running back trying to block him. Then when he had free access, quarterback, not missing those layups, man, getting those big hits on the quarterback. And probably the most impressive sack was the one where he caused the fumble and had the awareness to recover the ball as well and set our offense up for points. That was a huge play in the game, and just a terrific effort by AJ.
Thank you. Good luck with this week.
Thanks.
Coach Frazier, Mookie Hawkins, 1-4 Sports 1080. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, Mookie. How are you?
Hey, let's talk about this new player. I don't know where y'all picked him up from, but this stat line here, 5 tackles, 1 for a loss, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback pressures, a forced fumble, a recovery, and 1 pass breakup. I thought Otis Wilson was out there playing yesterday, Coach. Competitive continuity. Finally, you talk about Justin Zimmer. He was getting down the line, shedding those blocks. You've seen those nice twist stunts, that trust that you finally wanted to see out of that defensive line. Is this the game that you can say that this defense probably gelled?
No question. There were a lot of positives from our game on yesterday. Now you want to build on those. Okay, that's the goal. You know, you want to see consistency, and that's what we've got to get to. You know, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. And so we want to work as hard as we can to put some consistent, good performances together. And hopefully this is one of those games that we can look back on and say that was a really a good turning point for our season on defense.
Absolutely, Coach. Job well done. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Coach.